I think what's most important is that you figure out what are your core values. What is most important to you? Because when you can understand who you are and what you stand for and why these things are important, then the field that you go into or the next version of the mission that you're going to step into will become more apparent to you. You'll recognize it a whole lot better because you'll know this hits all of the values that I find near and dear to my heart. Now, you can just Google core values worksheet online. There's plenty of them around, but I recommend that you do that so you can go through and go, okay, what are the things that are a high priority for me right now? What is most important? Not about what I believe is important to me, but how I show up in the world, how I want these values to show up in what it is that I do.
Before we jump in, let me ask, what would life look like if you felt just 25% more fulfilled? It sounds wild, right? How do you even measure that? Well, my Rich with Gratitude system isn't about guesswork. It's about real transformation. At this Black Friday, discover the science-backed way to turn gratitude into growth, success, and yes, a little extra joy every day. In just minutes a day, you'll break free from your limiting beliefs, align with what truly matters, feel more abundance inside and out. Are you curious? Well, visit mymovies.com/Black Friday and grab your Black Friday deal now.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to the podcast for this week. This week is for you if you are stuck at the moment. If you are looking for a change in your career or a business and you know that you want to make a difference, but you're not quite sure what that is. So today is all about helping you figure out what that next step is for you, what that next career or the next chapter is for you. I'll be sharing a specific formula that you can follow so that not only can you use this formula for figuring out what your next step is in a career or a business, but you can actually use this for any big decisions that you want to be making in your life right now. So the reason I'm talking specifically at the moment about business and career is because this is what's been coming up a lot lately. Not just with people that I'm working with in the My Movies community, but friends as well. There seems to be a big shift happening on the planet right now, and it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in or what you're doing right now. It seems that business as usual is no longer working. And, I have some friends that, have like us. So I have some friends who are going back to one-on-one coaching. I have other friends that are doing online programs and others that are doing big events. But what seems to be the common thread is that whatever we were doing before is not working now. And we really want to be stepping into something that we know is going to make a difference. So that's a super important consideration when we're looking at what we're going to be doing in our next chapter. Now, it's really interesting. I came across some stats that talked about how workers, like 49% of workers between the ages of 45 and 65 are making dramatic career changes at the moment. That's nearly half. Now, another study showed that 72% of people who are working that are 50 years old and over consider that having a purpose or having fulfillment in what it is they're doing next is most important. So these are the things that we'll be looking at today. I understand why people may be looking at a career change midlife. I don't know about you, but for me, it's like every 10 years I get this kind of a little itch and go, oh, I need to be doing something different. I worked in the fitness industry for 11 years. After 10 years, I'm like, I'm ready for something new. And that's when I met Glenn and we ended up buying a nightclub, which was not exactly the road I thought I was going to end up on, but it was a change and that's what I asked for. So now I know to be a little bit more specific when I'm asking about what that change is going to be. We have been doing Mind Movies now for like 15 or 16 years. And even though I love what I'm doing at My Movies, and I certainly do, what has kept me engaged and kept me interested in and still moving forward is the introduction of the Mind Movies Method Academy. It is the introduction of the children's curriculum, the social emotional learning curriculum for kids and for schools, and also the FeelWise app where we're helping people with their emotions. So even though you may still be in the same field, you may find that you want to do something a little different or something that has a little bit more meaning or fulfillment for you. And that's, when you have that strong desire, then this is something that you really want to be looking at and paying attention to. Now, when you are looking at that, I think what's most important is that you figure out what are your core values. What is most important to you? Because when you can understand who you are and what you stand for and why these things are important, then the field that you go into or the next version of the mission that you're going to step into will become more apparent to you. You'll recognize it a whole lot better because you'll know this hits all of the values that I find are near and dear to my heart. Now, you can just Google core values worksheet online. There's plenty of them around, but I recommend that you do that so you can go through and go, okay, what are the things that are a high priority for me right now? What is most important? Not about what I believe is important to me, but how I show up in the world, how I want these values to show up and what it is that I do. So if you can start with your core values first, I think it's going to give you a great springboard into, okay, well, what could possibly fit the description that I have here when I'm looking at my core values? So when you're looking at where to go next, I think that what's important is that we look at where we've been. So when you can sit down and go, okay, what is it that I'm good at? What have I enjoyed in the past? What comes easy to me? Or when you look at your past experiences and go, what really lit me up? Like what lights me up? What makes me feel really good? Really take some time to set aside and sit down and start to ask these kinds of clarifying questions. Because these questions are going to lead you to a past experience that maybe you've forgotten. At the moment, maybe when you hear people talking about, helping children, like me, like when I think about that, it completely lights my soul up. Even though I seem to be an unusual suspect to do this kind of work, I know without a shadow of a doubt that when I think about doing this work, that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing. So you want to step into something that you know you're going to get that fulfillment from, and that knowing that yes, this is it, this is what I'm up to. Also, think about all the issues and the causes that are happening in the world right now and what really resonates with you. What I found is that we can want to save the world, and there can be plenty of different causes that we want to champion, but for us to be super effective, we need to choose a lane. So what is that lane for you?
Is it time for a career change? Find out with our free 30-second quiz. This simple yet potent tool will help you determine if a new career path is right for you. Don't miss out the chance to turn your life around. Go to mindmovies.com/career quiz.
What is it that really, is it the environment? Is it children? Is it, emotional well-being? Is it mental well-being? Is it the elderly? Think about anything that you know that really feels important to you and add this to your list when you're sitting down and doing this internal inquiry. Talk to friends and families. Talk to people around you and say to them, look, I'm thinking of stepping into something new, something that's going to be meaningful and fulfilling. What do you think I would be good at? Or what can you see me doing? Or what have you seen me doing in the past that you know I'd be really good at? What field could I bring that to? Someone that you respect, someone that like a mentor or a really good supportive friend. So ask them some questions as well. Do some little interviews and see what comes up from that as well. And before you, jump in boots and all, what you could do is just lean in. So lean in by volunteering. Before I started the children's program, I started reading to kids as a volunteer. And on Saturday mornings, I would get up early, I'd drive to downtown LA, and I would sit there and I'd be there for about 2 or 3 hours every Saturday morning, and I'd be reading to kids and really being in that environment with them, talking to the teachers, talking to the other volunteers, really getting a sense of, what it was like, especially for an inner child kid. What's it like? Some of these kids have never seen the beach. Some of these kids have never seen the stars because I live in a big city. So a lot of them, live in apartments. So it was really interesting to get that one-on-one, experience from them and figure out or ask them, what their life was like, which really helped me when I was putting together the program and the curriculum. Okay, so is there a formula that's going to help you to figure out what this is? Well, absolutely, yes, there is. And let me share it with you now. Okay, so first things first, like I said before, you want to start with figuring out what your core values are, and make a list of them. It doesn't have to be a long list. I'm thinking that the top 5, you could have 10, but you really want to focus on the top 5. Remember that with your core values, they will show up differently for different areas of life. So when you are going through and figuring out what your core values are, make sure that you're always thinking in relation to a business or a career, because our core values around relationship is different to our core values around business. So we want to make sure that when you're going through that list that you're actually focusing on what these are in relation to a business or career. The next thing you want to do is assess your skills and your strengths. I was just saying before, you want to go back, look behind us, and look back where you were, and really think about for yourself what you enjoy doing, what you're really good at. Normally, the things that we enjoy doing is the things that we are really good at. Make sure that you're asking people to tell you their observations of what you excel at and what you're good at, and then make a list of those kind of things. The next step is you want to be looking at market needs. Like you want to look at what are the areas that you think you will be able to make a difference in. We can talk about, for example, food. One of the groups I'm a part of, the Human Gathering, that like food is going to be one of the things that they're going to champion. And as a group, like how can we, improve the food situation in the US? Now, food is a big area. It could be, are we looking at growing? Are we looking at the quality of the soil? Are we looking at, processed foods? Are we looking at access to fresh foods? Like there are so many different things within this. When we're looking at kids, like I'm looking at the social and emotional welfare of kids. That's my lane. But when we're looking at kids, we're talking about literacy. We're talking about, knowledge and education. We could also be talking about safety. There are a lot of kids that are being groomed online by, traffickers. Like there are so many different things that we can do there. So think about the market or the area that you want and then go into the different niches of that and go, well, which part of this or which lane in this particular area can I make the biggest difference? And then the last thing you want to do is look at the lifestyle that you want. Call this reverse engineering, and I'm going to do a whole other podcast specifically on this area. But think about the life that you want to live. Okay, you've got to this point in your life. You've probably worked really hard to get to this point. So yes, you want something that's going to be fulfilling, but you also want to make sure that it's not going to drain you of everything that you've got. Really stop and think about, well, what do I want my life to look like now? Maybe the kids have gone off to college and maybe it's, you and your partner are left. Do you want to be traveling? Do you want to be spending more time with them? Do you want to make sure that you've got more time for your girlfriends? You want to make sure that you're nurturing yourself a whole lot more. What do you want your lifestyle to look like? And then make sure that what it is that you pursue can fit into that lifestyle as well. Because you deserve to be looking after yourself and really filling your cup at this time of your life. And yes, this new career or venture could help you do that, but you also want to make sure that you've got, you're taking time for yourself so that you can really nurture yourself as well. So just quickly going over that formula again, the first thing you want to do is identify your core values. Then you want to assess your strengths and your skills. You want to explore the market needs, or you want to make sure that you're exploring, different industries and what's needed in that. And then evaluate your lifestyle to make sure that what you choose can fit into that lifestyle. Now, this is a pretty simple formula, and it can be applied to any area of your life, not just business and career. So if you're thinking about relationships, if you're thinking about your health, any other major life changes, then you can apply this particular formula to that as well. And it's going to help you to make that decision a whole lot easier and to recognize the opportunity of what that is when it presents itself. Because when you're clear about where it is that you're ending up, then when it shows up and anything that shows up that's going to help you to get there, you're going to recognize it really quickly. So I hope that you've enjoyed our podcast today and that you found it really helpful. Make sure that you share your comments on our Facebook page, Not Over Just Different. I'm looking forward to hearing how this particular formula has helped you make your decisions. And please leave a review on Apple on the podcast page there so that we can find more listeners like you. So thank you for listening this week, and I look forward to chatting to you again soon. Ciao.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Not Over Just Different. If you felt inspired by this episode, please subscribe and drop a comment below to let us know what you loved. My goal is to reignite the spark that you may think you've lost and cultivate a space where no matter what walk of life you are, you can step into the world with power and confidence. I would love to hear your reviews. It helps us to reach more incredible women like you. So until next time, keep growing, keep striving, and keep believing in the power of your potential. Here's to living your best life now.